Today I'm going to show you one of the drinks that helped me win the World Coffee and Good Spirits Championship in Brazil. I'm also going to share with you 10 tips around making hot coffee cocktails. So let's make some coffee cocktails. Did I say coffee cocktails too much? Welcome back everyone to the Coffee Cocktail channel with me, Dan Fellows. For those of you I've not met before, I'm Dan, it's nice to meet you. I'm the double World Coffee and Good Spirits champion, and that's all about coffee and cocktails, as is this channel, so welcome along. And today, I'm gonna be showing you one of the competition drinks that I served to win the World Coffee and Good Spirits Championship in Brazil, as well as giving you some kind of top tips of things I've learned along the way, which might help you when you make coffee cocktails. So a message from El Salvador is all about El Salvador, obviously, but I'm gonna talk you through the concept behind the drink, and that's gonna be the first section, which will start now. So a message from El Salvador obviously celebrates El Salvador, and it celebrates specifically incredible producers, ingredients, and flavors from El Salvador. And that's exactly what this drink is designed to do. So the kind of first tip I'm gonna give you is a bit of a cliche thing, but what grows together really does go together. So in a message from El Salvador, we've got rum, which comes from a friend of mine, Alfredo Pacas, and his family, who also grow coffee. It comes from the Santa Ana region in El Salvador, and it's bloody delicious. So I'm gonna have a sip of this. It'd be rude not to taste it. And this is a 12-year-old rum. I chose it because it comes from that region in El Salvador. The family also produce coffee, as well as sugarcane. And it's just banging. Loads of vanilla, loads of kind of orange zest, lots of fruit in there. You can really taste the oak from the 12-year aging. And it's such a good backbone to the drink. So we're gonna build the drink later, but this is kind of the core foundation of the drink. Obviously rum has a process behind it, and as well as the rum, the Pacas family also provided me with molasses, which is a byproduct of the rum production. So these things grow together, they definitely go together. And I was pairing this with a coffee which also, you may be surprised, comes from El Salvador. So now we've got our concept of exploring the flavors, ingredients, and producers of El Salvador. Obviously we need to choose a coffee, and choosing an El Salvadorian coffee was a no-brainer. So I'm very lucky to work with some incredible coffee producers, Carlos and Patricia Polla, and their farm San Antonio has produced some amazing lots of coffee over the last few years. So they produce great coffee. And the first top tip I will give, which relates to all of this, is when you find incredible producers, celebrate them. Build drinks around what they do, talk about what they do, create routines about what they do, because incredible producers are going to give you a really good chance of making delicious drinks. So that'd be my next top tip. So when it came to choosing a coffee from Carlos and Patricia, they do a wide range of different coffees, different varieties, different processes, and different flavors are ultimately in the cup. But what I wanted to do, and this will be my next top tip, when you choose a coffee for a cocktail, you can either add something that complements everything, so kind of ties into the flavors already in the drink, or something that completely contrasts them, which is what I've done today. So by using the coffee which has kind of bright notes, vibrancy, acidity, I'm contrasting the rich, heavy, intense, spicy notes of the drink, which we've got in the other ingredients. And I went with a semi-washed red Pacamara for those kind of vibrant citric notes. It was a super delicious coffee. And now we've got that, as well as our other ingredients and our concept, we can start making a message from El Salvador. So, a message from El Salvador. The first thing you're gonna notice is that it's gonna be built over here, which is in a sous vide circulator, the Boston tin sitting inside the water. And this is top tip number 4, which is to be very accurate with your serving temperatures, which is true of any drink, but particularly hot coffee cocktails. If it's too hot, you're gonna get too much of the boozy aroma coming off, and if it's too cold, you'll get kind of weird texture. It won't be a very satisfying drink. And using a sous vide is really good for this. So I've got this set to 52 degrees, it's incredibly accurate, and it's gonna mean I'm serving the drink at exactly the temperature I want to serve it at. So we're gonna start with 20 mils of Ron Ciatan, which is our El Salvadorian rum. Really delicious, all that vanilla, giving the kind of base notes to the drink. Straight in the sous vide, job done. So top tip number 5 is to not add too much high ABV alcohol to hot cocktails. Otherwise you'll get all those kind of really intense alcohol fumes coming off. Hot booze can give you vibes. Then we've got the molasses, which is a byproduct of the rum production. And I'm adding 10 mils of this. And as well as obviously giving sweetness, this gives kind of richness and depth and those kind of dark, moody, deep notes, which we want in the drink. And in a minute, I'll talk more about the kind of drink this is based on, but it'll all make sense pretty soon. Next up, another sugarcane derived ingredient, which is cachaça. So this competition took place in Brazil. It was a nod to Brazil. I wanted to use cachaça, which is kind of the national spirit of Brazil. And I've actually infused this with 1 part cascara from El Salvador to 10 parts cachaça. So the cascara, which is your coffee cherry, which is dried out into almost a tea, gives it a really nice kind of dried fruit note, which ties in very well with our next ingredient, which is Pedro Jimenez. So to 20 mils of rum, 10 mils of molasses, and 10 mils of our cascara infused cachaça, I'm adding 20 mils of Pedro Jimenez, which basically is a sherry that tastes like raisins. It is a bit more complex than that, but in this drink, that's the kind of idea behind it. So the next ingredient is one that kind of ties these big flavors together, and it's this, which is our spiced butter mix. So this is a mix of different spices and butter. We've got 1 gram of vanilla, 2 cloves, and this leads me nicely onto my next tip, which is not to use too much clove. 1 broken up cinnamon stick, 3 grams of orange zest, just the peel, none of the pith, and then 15 grams of unsalted butter. And the idea behind this is it takes inspiration from one of my favorite winter cocktails, which is Hot Buttered Rum. And it really bridges the kind of coffee and the spirits together to give it a really rich, silky texture and that really nice buttery mouthfeel. But by controlling the temperature really well, we're able to fully emulsify this to make sure it's not too slick and kind of strange texture. So to this, I'm going to add 60 grams of boiling water. Then I'm just going to give this a little shake to kind of emulsify the butter, to infuse those spices, and we'll come back to this in a minute. So as I let this settle, become one, I'm going to go and grab the espresso. So the espresso is extracted with 20 grams of coffee for a 50 gram yield, which has got plenty of body, but also highlights those kind of stone fruit notes. And it's a freshly roasted, light roast red Pacamara, semi-washed, which gives it lots of vibrancy to complement the other ingredients in the drink. And now I've got this, I'm going to pop this in the sous vide. And while I've been brewing the espresso, this has started to fully emulsify. So this is like a little jar full of Christmas. Smells so good. So now we've got our spiced butter mix. I have 4 top tips back to back. The first one is to use classic cocktails that you love to create delicious coffee cocktails which are taking inspiration from them. So this drink takes inspiration from Hot Buttered Rum. It's an amazing hot cocktail. There aren't many hot cocktails, to be honest, when you compare them to cold cocktails, and it's an absolute banger. So using this to bridge amazing coffee and amazing spirits is a really good thing to do. And make sure you choose drinks that you love and you're excited to make. Top tip number 8 is that butter can really work well in coffee, contrary to what some people say, but you really need to make sure you emulsify it and you make sure it's fully melted, just like this, when you mix it in with the coffee. So by controlling our temperature at 52 and making sure this is fully melted, we can get a really nice texture. But I would also give a little bit of caution to make sure you drink the drinks fairly quickly. When you add butter and it goes cold, it gets pretty rank, so drink it fast. Don't dwell for too long because it does go a bit weird. So now I'm going to strain this into our sous vide, like so. And then top tip number 9 is really important. The reason I've used unsalted butter in this drink is so I can accurately control the amount of salt in the drink. And if you've seen my videos before, you'll know I like to add a little bit of saline solution to the drinks. I add saline at a 1:5 salt to boiling water ratio at 1 gram per 100 mils. And it's really important to control this. So this drink has around about 120 mils of liquid. So I'm going to add 1.2 grams of our saline. And this just brings it all together. Really works well with the flavor profile. So this is about ready to serve. So I'm going to whack this back in the sous vide and prepare my garnishes, which I think are pretty cool. So a big shout out to my friend Paul Ross and also Carlos and Patricia and Alfredo Pacas. And we all work very closely on developing the presentation of this drink. So here I've got a postcard from Alfredo, the rum producer, with a little note to the judges or to you. So enjoy the drinks, salud Alfredo Pacas, and Carlos and Patricia sent an El Salvador postcard, and both of these have personal messages to the drinker of the drinks, which I thought was a really nice touch. So these are our garnishes with a message to each of our judges, a message from El Salvador. And then we're going to serve in these beautiful gold rimmed glasses. So really important, give this a little dry so we're not dripping water into the glasses before we serve. And this is fully emulsified for the next 2 drinks. So you can see it's not a buttery drink, but it just brings really nice texture Really nice flavour in there. And there we have a message from El Salvador. It's done. My World Coffee and Good Spirits Championship hot drink, and I am very proud of this drink. So, cheers. Takes me back. It's been a little while, but I still love this drink. Warming. I think the flavour notes I gave on the day were Christmas pudding. So kind of treacly, spice, molasses, lots of rum in there as well. But you don't get any burn from the alcohol, which is really nice. You got the coffee coming through really clearly. And the weirdest thing about this drink is it tastes like dark chocolate for no particular reason, because it's not in there. It's like a chocolate orange. So that is a message from El Salvador. It's a drink I'm still incredibly proud of. It's a drink I really enjoy making and drinking, evidently. So my final tip for the whole video, which kind of rounds it up really nicely, is that baristas and bartenders are essentially curators between ingredients, flavors, producers, and their guests. So in a competition, your guests will be judges, your guests at home might be your friends, but it's really important that we celebrate incredible things, incredible flavors, incredible producers, and we make tasty drinks in the process. So if you've enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Look forward to seeing you soon.